Hello, my name is Woya and welcome to My Deep Guide, and today we are checking out another 13-inch e-ink Kaleido color screen, but this time it doesn't come from the usual players. It's actually coming from someone new, and that would be Modos. They are a two-person team. And it's not like that they're developing like a new panel or anything. It's a standard panel that they're using from e-ink. What's special about Modos is that they have developed two things. Primarily, their own circuit board. I'm not having a stroke, I'm just having fun. So they've developed their own circuit board as a driver to drive these e-ink panels, and of course the firmware that is still being refined. But the cool thing about the firmware is the promise, at least, that once it's going to be done, it's going to be open source for the community to actually improve upon, build upon, and work with, which is genuinely cool. This unit has been kindly provided to me directly by Modos. I believe this is not a production unit, this is just a sample, so it's very early stages still, but it's very close to what we may end up seeing and what we can hope to see in the final product. This is a review alone, obviously. So today we're doing the genuine unboxing and first impressions in this video, and that's going to be followed up once I see what's like, what works, what are the quirks, and then I'm going to shoot some questions back to Modos, get some replies, and then collate all of that information and kind of shoot it out into your direction via YouTube in the in-depth review, which is also going to be like the comparison against Dasung 13K and the Tab XC devices, which are all 13.3-inch color Kaleido devices, which are kind of using almost, I think that they're using almost the exact same type of panel, but it's going to be interesting to see them blink next to each other doing the same thing. Let's open this up, see what's it like. And I had the bigger box, in which I had this smaller box and these accessories included. I gotta say, the supplied US power supply is actually very nice and beefy, so that's kind of cool. So they've included everything. I didn't have to run out and buy an adapter, so that's thoughtful and nice. And they've included cables. Let's open up. And again, genuinely, this is for the first time. That's the whole point of first impressions, is not me acting and doing like ooh, bleh, but actually checking things out. So there will be things that I don't know, there will be things that I'm gonna get wrong, but those are the first impressions, and that's why the updated review then is going to be there. I've got instructions here. This is an alpha version, 0 point something, and super early. So right now the process of powering it on and turning it off, you need to follow a regulated checkbox list. That's definitely helpful because that just ensures that the reviewers are going to be able to know what's going on because the provided checklist is there. Oh, I forgot to mention that in the box there was also the USI stylus, because this panel is supposed to be both touch compatible and stylus compatible. And already now this is like really interesting and beefy. Whoa, that's nice and beefy. So we got this kind of a very nice black red type of a design, very utilitarian. It's quite beefy and heavy, which is interesting to see. I really like several things right out of the gate. You see these rounded edges here? That's something that I really like. The second thing is we got screws. Whether or not that's going to be just because it's a prototype version or an early version, if that's going to be available on the finished units, that's going to be very interesting if that's there, which actually coincidentally would fit their logic. So we got these buttons here, which are nice and clicky. Enough yapping, open it up. Okay, fine. There, I opened it up. Okay, so this basically is like a normal housing screen. It's not trying to do anything like, oh, I'm e-ink, so I'm different. It's actually just like that. So, oh, cool. So this is the actual unit itself. We have Visa mounting standard here, no mumbo jumbo or anything like that. It's just there. You can use it however you want it. That's a proper design. We have normally milled edges because this is a unibody. Yeah, for sure. This whole thing is a milled unibody, and that's why it feels and it looks so freaking awesome. And we got really kind of nice screws here. Again, this is an early model, so there are some unevenness. The screws are not entirely flush with the surface, so that's something that hopefully they will be working on to improve it for the final product. But I really love the idea of having screws to open up my device and own my device. So that's another plus here. The front design is fairly simple. You have just the screen here, a little bit extra space down there, and a Modos logo down here. Right now, the image is showing these things, and I genuinely have not powered it on before. This is normal for e-ink panels generally, but I'm just hoping that this is not an indication that something went wrong in the transport. So, but there shouldn't be a reason for that. So we have the magnetic back here that snaps onto the back. The orientation of magnets is such that it snaps on its own, so that's properly done. You also have magnets down here so that it holds it down normally and nicely. Are you seeing this, Dasung, for example? And this here, I believe, are hinges, or now I'm going to be incredibly embarrassed and be kind of broken things. No, it is hinges. I'm not breaking things. Good. So you can actually adjust it to an angle that you want while the magnets are holding it here. So how does that work? Let's get this out of the way and see. And this is properly designed. But there's one thing missing. We don't have rubber feet here, but I don't know if you're gonna need them. The only thing that's a little bit is that a bit of a softer, just on the edge surface or something like that would double as anti-skid and also noise dampening for those who are using the monitor on a harder surface. Because over an extended period of time, this could get a little bit annoying. But the overall quality of the hinge, of everything, see, if it had an anti-skid, that would not have happened. So this is a really, really nice design and really proper quality here. It's just a collection of good ideas. There's nothing revolutionary new that we see here, but it's all collected and executed in a really good way. As far as the layout goes, well, we don't really have anything anywhere other than these two USB-C ports. The bottom one is the power supply and the top one is the signal supply. So no one cable linking. For the most reliable connection, follow this order. Connect the power cable to the bottom USB-C port on the Enchanter. That's going to be here. And video, use the device while the device is flashing and booting. Then connect the 4K USB-C cable to the top USB-C port while ensuring that the video cable is already plugged into your computer first, right? So you got this already connected to the power, this already connected to my computer. My computer has booted up and I'm going to be testing it in Windows first and then in Linux. Let's do this. So if I plug it in, it should start blinking, flashing. Yes, it's flashing, and now I plug in the signal and voila. Without any problems whatsoever, it's immediately available. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the theme, or actually high contrast. Where is it? High contrast theme. Already now. I don't know, I'm going to be changing the lens and the angle here, but yeah, you can even see this happening on a 300 ppi color Kaleido e-ink panel. That's all their special driver board that's basically what they've been working on, because there's nothing really tremendously special about the panel itself. The special magic sauce is in the driver board that they have developed for driving screens and the firmware that they're working on. So that's pretty freaking cool. So let's switch to a high contrast theme. There we go. But the smoothness, I've never seen smoothness like this on an e-ink panel. Now, what that's going to do to an e-ink panel over time, that's another question to be had, because e-ink panels are not meant for high refresh rates. They are, obviously they can do it, but they have a finite, although in millions and millions of refresh cycles, but it's a finite refresh cycle. Harder you push it, more quickly you will spend that. Let's put it to the native resolution, and the native resolution of this dude is 3200 by 2400. There we go. We're gonna keep changes. Now they recommend 150 DPI scaling for this one. For me, I think I'm too old. I'm gonna go with Windows recommended 250. I think it's gonna benefit you guys as well for better recording on the camera. All right, I got the camera set up now so that we have a more zoomed in angle. I have the focus lock, but the aperture is not locked. So the camera will adapt to the lighting conditions when I get to the front light, if I do. The more locked down comparison and things like that, that's gonna come in the review. Following the instructions, it says settings. Press 2 buttons, I guess any 2 buttons, at the same time to open the on-screen settings menu. So we got 1, 2, 3 buttons, you remember, on the side here. Okay, so the bottom button is the refresh. There's also like browsing, watching, typing. 2 upper ones together at the same time. Yes, there we go. To get the menu. My inclination is that because I don't see any errors or anything like that, and this is a touchscreen, the way I wish that this would work is that this is touch. Yes, yes, good UX design. Oh, that makes me so happy. All right, so we have update modes: browsing, watching, writing or typing, and reading. Cool. We have lightness. Okay, and saturation. Okay, and we got our front light. Oh, this is a nice front light. This is a nice color as well. This is very, very nice to see, especially after... Yes, there we go. So this is a very similar, but maybe, I don't know. This is just first impressions again, guys. So I'll see it when I compare it. And I know that the camera can't see this properly because it's like full intensity and everything, so it's just gonna explode and it has lights all over. So as I said, I'm gonna do the control settings yeah, in the in-depth review because it takes a lot of time to set things up properly. So this is just the first look, but from my vantage point, this front light is really, really nice. We got fully cold, we got 5 levels in between to warm. And we have the same thing with intensity, front light, and 5 levels of intensity all the way to full. If I set it midway here, this is a pleasant looking calibration of a front light, so I can leave it like that. Saturation wise, well, yeah, when I go to really saturated, it's able to handle reds and oranges. Actually, aren't you glad I didn't say banana? You can handle oranges 3 at a time, and it can handle orange and red colors in a good way. So even the OSD is saying like, shut up, man. And the lightness is also some 7 levels of lightness that you can adjust. And the button, oh yes! This is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that's missing from the other stuff that I test, which just feels like unfinished garbage. And this is like in alpha. Proper user experience. When you launch something, even in alpha stage, that it has proper things. Yes, I know I'm talking too much, but I'm just happy to see this. Because it means that I can just freaking customize it the way I want to. This is awesome. So we got button 1, button 2, button 3, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 customizable functions. This is freaking awesome that you can do. Oh, I like this very much so. And you can reset to default. Somebody knows what they're doing here. All I'm gonna say. So let's see. We got previous model, and the settings that you can customize are previous and next display modes. Set display modes to browsing, watching, typing, reading. Cool. So if you can just wanna quickly go, not list through modes, but actually have your favorite modes, you could go through that. Very, very thoughtful. Toggle front light on and off. Very, very important and cool as well. Then we have increase front light brightness, decrease front light brightness, clear screen, toggle auto clear, ooh, okay, open settings, and power off. So right now we got, where are we? Here. So we got toggle auto clear, okay. How do we know if auto clear is on and off? Okay, let's try. So that's a long press. So if I long press, auto clear on, great. Long press, auto clear off. There's an answer to my question. That is very nice to see. So let's leave auto clear on, and we have clear screen. We can long press power button 2 to power it off, and then we have next previous display mode, and the front light on off is the button 1. So this should turn the front light on and off. The middle button is going to power it off. We will test that in the end. Let's now fire up some of the sites that I normally use. There we go. That was auto refresh. Nice. Very non-intrusive. Cool. So let's do that. And first we're going to start with, I believe browsing mode was first. Yeah. Well, let's start with the browsing mode first, and let's browse. All right, and this is the standard web page that I normally use for testing things. And let's see how it works. RiderGate, yes, the touch does work, but there's obvious lag. There's quite a bit of lag between what's being transmitted to the computer. Oh, and this two gesture seems to not be working. So I will have to see if the current touch supports two gestures, pinch to zoom. It doesn't seem like it does. This is something that worked on the Dasung with the touch capability normally. While I have the image here, and I can't move it, let's move it here. There we go, so it's clear. And open up this just to see like how does lightness work. Okay, so we see, exploding of the lightness, and let's just adjust to something that's not exploded. Default 0 is a little bit too much. You can see it's a little bit aggressive. And a saturation. Yeah, you can go up to the saturation levels higher, but it's gonna, kind of affect these things. So image quality is not really, in this iteration of the firmware at least, on par with the filtering and everything that the Dasung is able to do. So let's see, maybe if we switch to a different mode, we will be able to have something. So now we have obvious image degradation and dithering, but we also have obvious improvement of the image quality. So yeah, the firmware is firmware. That's the Icelandic version of the firmware, is Fjornware. So we have this. If we switch to writing, then it's going to be even more poppy. Yep, that tracks, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, and if we go to reading, then we have the most contrast setting popping up here. So there is a bit of a correlation here and there, but one thing that I will note is that the browsing mode, which should correlate to the web mode on the Dasung, for example, is very nice and clean on the text. We will do that next, but handling of images is good, but it doesn't seem to be on par with what the Dasung was able to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hit both of them at the same time. There we go. And make sure that I'm with 0, 0 and in browsing mode. So now let's go here, and I'm going to go to the computer to zoom in a little bit more. And you can see the responsiveness is just epic. And not just the responsiveness. Look at the speed and look how clean it actually is. How it cleans up everything. So now let's look at the much more difficult aspect here. I mean, all of this should leave like a ghosty, ungodly mess all over the place, but it doesn't. Yes, you do have some ghosting, but it's clearing up fairly nicely. And since I do have the auto ghosting or auto clear on, I know that eventually it's going to click it, but if I don't want to wait, I can just click the button and I'm done. So this is really cool. Let's go to full screen just to make things a little bit easier. There we go. So full screen, that was auto clean. This is completely readable, like no problems whatsoever with the front light. Front light is extremely pleasant. So obviously that's the updated front light that E-Ink is putting in the stack for the Kaleido panel. Now let's see, was it the button number 1, long press to turn on front? Yes, turn off front light. This is actually usable. The contrast and the clarity somehow works in this situation. We will see how it works when I put them back to back. That's going to be a very interesting thing to kind of look at. And there we go. So that's a clear example of the color handling not being on par with the web mode of the Dasung. However, if we switch to not browsing but watching mode, we get a lot of dithering. So that's like, yeah, it's and the resolution is degraded, but the handling of the colors is good, but the ghosting goes bananas. It's trying to do some really smart cleanup, but for me the image degradation that's needed for this is simply too high. For other people that simply may not be the case. It's just that for me the trade-off is too high. And here I can have my typing test. Typing responsiveness, not responsiveness, responsiveness. Thank you. Yeah, typing responsiveness is excellent, unlike my spelling performance. There we go. Yeah, this seems to be working more than fine, and I would be able to use this very easily on my day-to-day typing basis needs. Not a sentence, but you get the point. So yeah, typing mode definitely works. All right, let's get to reading. Ooh. Oh, and this exploded. The contrast. Oh. Okay, listen to this. Yeah, something about the content here is that it's not super happy about that. And did we just now auto switch to video mode? Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so it's alpha, again, very early firmware. Some things are to be expected. Rendering of the colors on the charts. Well, for the charts themselves, and we're blocked. So it was not happy with something on this page. It kind of got crashed. Oop, there we go. So the touch responsiveness is no longer working, but the screen is still working. So, okay, some instability with the firmware. Now, the rendering of the colors for charts, I mean, that's one of the things that you would want to use this. It's not that great here. I can see the difference, but it's not that super awesome. We're in which mode? Oh, OSD completely crashed. So I think that at this point, the panel, the board itself and the firmware has crashed. And I'm just like working on in the wild now, because there's no responsiveness from the OSD anymore. And there's no responsiveness here whatsoever. So I'm gonna have to try and reboot and get it to kind of work. I doubt, it's interesting. Auto refresh though works. Still not, okay. So let's see if the long press of the button 2 will shut it down. I doubt it, because if it crashed, then it receives no input whatsoever, and it doesn't. All right, then I'm gonna have to unplug it and plug it back in. All right, here we are, a simple restart, and the board rebooted and everything works normally. So yep, that's the nature of the alpha and the super early testing. I believe that this may be already known for them, because I know that they have released another version of the firmware, 0.2, so this is not even 0.2, which I haven't had time to check yet, because I just recently got the info on that. So I will definitely upgrade to it and yeah, test it for the in-depth review. So now we're gonna switch to browsing, and what I want to do is pump up the saturation so that I can see what it does to the colors. So we can see that we have RGB okay. Here it got confused because this is supposed to be like orangish yellow, and it doesn't really help with the lines. That was the most important thing that I wanted to see, was is it going to be able to help with the lines? Oh, and it just got okay. So there's definitely issues with the stability of the firmware. It's kind of getting a little bit confused here and there, but let's try and see here. So we got this, and okay, so the rendering of the yellowish one is better, rendering of the red, green, and blue is better, and yeah, that's okay. So yep, this has potential once stabilized to actually work properly. Definitely we do not have two button functionality in place yet. The speed and the cleanliness though, that's the impressive part, and that is working as advertised basically. Yeah, there's no mumbo jumbo here. It is just able to work as you would expect it to. It's the table. The table is causing it to do the zzz kind of noise. Yeah, on text it doesn't. Yeah, it's the tables. It doesn't like the tables. Let's check out the wheel, and let's go into browsing mode 00. Let's see. Roughly it's fine. How does it react to the colors? Well, it's pumping them up, but we are losing some of the differentiations here, while we actually, when we go down, it's gonna lose a lot of cohesion. So 0 is fine. Negatives, I'm not really convinced, because we get greens here in the red orange when we go into negatives, so something's off there. Sensitivity can be improved, I think, for the colors themselves. So let's see, like that. Okay, so let's just quickly check out. Okay, so in watching, obviously this reflects what I saw, which is much better and fuller expressiveness of the color wheel. The degradation is there. Writing, it's different. It's all over the place. Let's see if it's refresh. Nope, that's how it is. You get the lightness of the greens is not really that great, and it's all over the place. We have violets in blues. It can't really make a decision between, yeah, what color is which. So yeah, color calibration, definitely you need some work there. And when we go to reading, well, it explodes the contrast, and it did a refresh now that was actually nice. So was that a problem that it didn't refresh? Let's refresh. Nope. This is how it does it in typing. In reading, it's better. As it refreshed here. Yeah, it's more consistent with the colors at least, but the contrast is super, super high. So let's see if we circle back to browsing. Yes, we do, and we do this. All right, so that's why the color wheel is useful, because it gives you information, gives you a little bit more context on what are the things that I'm reacting to when looking at images when browsing. All right, let's get to the video stuff and see how that performs. So let's see, I'm playing my YouTube video that I have of normal content. So normal video content, it's not super cartoon high contrasty or anything like that. The graininess is really, really pronounced. Can you see what you're looking at? Yeah, you can, but it's... Hello, Editing Voya here. Unfortunately, during the editing portion of the video segment, my audio has cut out. I do not know why, but I will just tell you in short, and I'm going to be like talking here as a little floating head, hopefully in the editing, while I'm showing some of the examples, just in short my impressions of the Modos video thingy. It's good, it works impressive, the speediness and the smoothness, it can definitely handle stuff well. However, there's the thing that I already mentioned beforehand, and that is that maybe the light is better this way. Yes, maybe the light, I don't know. And the problem is that there's this dithering matrix of black pixels or cells basically superimposed statically in front of the content all of the time. So that's the point number one, but with some fine-tuning and stuff like that, you are able to actually get the panel to, or the monitor to work really well for an e-ink panel. Like for any of this, like whenever we're talking about a video type of performance, on an e-ink panel, it has to be with a provision for an e-ink panel. Now, the main question remains, it's like, yes, is this impressive? Yes, it most certainly is. Is this something that you would want to use? I don't know. That really comes down to what your needs and what your limitations are. I'm leaning towards the opinion of thinking that if you don't have an explicit need, meaning a medical issue so that you cannot use a regular panel for video, e-ink doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter how impressive the panel is or the technology is, and this is truly impressive, yes, but it doesn't make sense for video at all. The only way that this can make sense, to me at least, you can tell me what you feel and what you think, but for me the only way that pushing an e-ink panel to do these kinds of things makes sense if you have absolutely no other alternative. Then sure, then it makes sense, but even then I am wondering, I have no knowledge of this, and it would be good if somebody would pipe in with their own experience or knowledge, but I'm just simply led to wonder. The migraines and the eye fatigue and things like that, I know that in some cases it comes from flickering content, not just the blue hue and the light wave energy from the blue spectrum of the light, but it's actually the flickering itself. And closer we get to 30 hertz, 60 hertz, or whatever, more blinkiness you're introducing. And I think that when you have blinkiness, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's going to be a blinky thing. And if you have an issue with the blinky type of content, you're going to have an issue with the blinky e-ink, LCD, OLED, or anything, or PVM backlight, or something like that. So I think that that's something that should be looked at as well. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So yeah, that's basically my impression. And but the bottom line is, yeah, can Modos do video? Yes, it can. Is it something that's usable? I think that's an individual kind of thing. Would I personally use it? Nope, absolutely not. But that's my kind of thing. You might want to use it, which is kind of fine. But it is a genuinely impressive type of performance. I think that it performs better than most of the other panels that I have seen so far, but it remains to be seen how it performs when it's back to back with the Dasung 13K color. Alrighty, so that is the Modos. I like the name because it reminds me almost it's Mordor, but it's Modos. So that's the Modos Enchanter, I believe it's called. It's genuinely impressive to see the level of clarity, deghosting, and for me personally, ease of use because of that firmware, firmboard, and user experience. User experience is something that is so often overlooked, but is something that I spend quite a lot of time on and dish out a lot of critique here on mydeepguide. I've been doing that for Dasung, I've been doing that for books, quite a lot for books, Remarkable, Supernote also where it needs to, because out of all of these big players, Supernote is really, really good. But this type of mentality, and just thinking about having a user experience that's complete out of the gate, this is less than 0.2 version. This is very, very, very much an alpha. Yet, that's the difference here. It's not about, oh, we'll handle it later. No, the concept of how a user is supposed to interact with their product is already in place. And that is a major difference. It's a complete mind shift difference between a patch job that always turns to crap and it's never good, or a proper foundation that we have here, which turns it into a much more enjoyable platform or a product that you may want to use. Now, user experience on its own is not everything. It's an important gatekeeper, but once you open up those gates, you need to deliver. And thankfully, the Enchanter does deliver, which is really, really cool for the types of use case scenarios that I would use this monitor for. It's genuinely impressive how fast it is, and yeah, the deghosting, the clarity, the interaction, it's the usability of it, it's really, really good. Whether or not you're supposed to expect an e-ink panel to handle video content, that's a different matter altogether. But this one, you've seen examples, it can somewhat do it, and probably better than other e-ink panels, but that's not really saying much, simply because e-ink panels are not meant for that. I would have preferred to have seen a much better color calibration of the web mode, something that's on par with the Dasung 13K, because while this one, in the first impressions alone at least, does outperform Dasung 13K it seems to me, in speed, deghosting, and image quality. In all of those important categories, I think it does outperform the 13K. The one area where it does lack is the image quality calibration in the web mode. Thankfully, that's a pure firmware kind of thing, so that's something that can be improved, and I'm pretty sure it will be improved, especially because of the promise that it's going to be open source and open for the community. So if they don't do it, there's going to be somebody else who will. So that turns from a negative point to a small nibble. I'm hungry, haven't had my breakfast yet, but I think it's something that's going to be solved. If they manage to kind of introduce that as well, even in this alpha state, it delivers so much that it's genuinely impressive. The build quality, the OSD, the user interface, the ease of use, for a super early stage, it's like really, really cool. What we're missing is multi-touch support. That's something that I think they really need to put in there. I hope that the touch panel is able to, and the driver is able to kind of handle that type of input. And also I don't really see the use for the digitizer. It works like a mouse, so if that's something that you want, cool, you have it. It can do it, but I would much rather use the finger. The touch latency was a little bit slow, not a little bit, actually was quite a bit slow. There was a lot of latency between what you do on the screen and how quickly it goes through the boards and sent out to the screens, so to the laptop, so that you can get the signal back. So definitely alpha stage, but even for that, it handled most of the tasks really, really well. It was actually usable. I did have one crash, but after that crash, a simple power cycle, and it continued working normally. So for the super early stage of the firmware where it is, I'm genuinely impressed with what I see here. Price point, I'm going to be double checking, but I think that the dev kit that they have on one of the crowdfunding pages was like $600 for the 13 panel Enchanter like this is, but I'm not sure that this is with the enclosure. So I tried to find information online where and how, and how much this will cost, but I couldn't find it at the time of making this video. Of course, I will reach out to the developers and ask what the price will be. So that's going to be included either as a pinned comment or definitely in the full review. So that's basically the look at the Modos Enchanter. Am I enchanted? No, I'm not enchanted at all, because it's not my cup of tea to force a piece of technology to do what it's not supposed to do and what it's not meant to be doing in the first place. But is it impressive? Yeah, it's genuinely impressive. And if it's something that you've been waiting for and looking for, well, it's something to look forward to, and it may be potentially interesting. So I would advise you to wait a little bit longer to see how the platform develops, to see what the prices are going to be, and also to see if you're interested more in something like this, because these panels are on their own very, very expensive. So this is going to be an expensive device. So I do invite you to maybe wait a little bit and see the results of the in-depth review. And more importantly, in that video, it's going to be back-to-back comparison, how it compares with the Tab XC, with the Dassault 13K in this field. And then you can make a more informed decision and see, hey, yep, this is definitely what I'm looking for, or maybe something else. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Maybe that one was a joke. I don't know. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye.